It's Friday. We're live. We're back. Reverend Tony, how are you?
I'm absolutely fine, thank you. I'm absolutely fine. It's been a busy week, but yeah,
Oh, yes.
it's
Oh,
been good. It's been good. Lot,
excellent stuff.
lots happening. Lots happening. How's the non-smoking going?
Yeah. Ah! Hang on. Let me get the app and give you an absolute current minute by minute update. And I know we're in
Amazing.
2 days. Hello, Daryl. Hello, Stace. Hello, everyone.
Shelley,
Um,
Jen, Trace. If you're watching, please say hello so we know that you're watching.
absolutely. Yes, I am currently at 2 days, 5 hours, and 11 minutes. And I have had 3 cravings.
Wow.
I don't get it.
That's
I don't
that's
get it.
amazing. That's amazing. Hi Nick. Glad you're watching.
Hey, Nick. Chrissy, I hope you got your message. I did send you something for your daughter, the stupid o'clock, as requested yesterday. Um, the music for the healing, actually.
Oh. It
Um,
is beautiful.
because we now have an extra 2 minutes of it on a Thursday night.
Oh.
We've extended it from 1 minute to 3 minutes because we now do hands-on healing during the service. And
Oh.
so I went and found it again, and there's more to it. And actually, it gets better as it goes along as well.
You
So
must send me an updated version, dear.
I will indeed. It's even a little bit louder as well, which helps when
Uh,
it's playing in the village hall.
yeah, yeah.
Hello to Joanne, Wendy, Linda. How are
Yes,
you?
yes.
Oh,
Um, Facebook, James Waitley
oh,
Bradford is
James
Facebook.
Yeah, I might have guessed that was trouble. Hello, James. Good to see you. Eunice, good afternoon. Not working this afternoon. Good, good, good. You can come and join
Everybody's
us.
welcome. Everybody's
Absolutely.
welcome.
So I just realised that I stopped showing
Yes,
the Dubris.
the Dubries up the side, yes.
Unfortunately, it doesn't show up on there, Shelley, what your emojis are. But I'm sure it will.
There were question marks. I've got the phone down here with it all on, so I can
Ah,
see it.
well done. Good, good, good,
I
good. That
think it
makes.
was regarding the cessation of smoking and things.
Yes, yes,
See
because
around there.
I've been keeping up with the current posts on the circles on the WhatsApp. So and just pink hearts. There we go. Um, yeah, it's in your messenger, Chrissy. It's in your Dewberry.
Dubry.
my new favourite word. It was a bit of a Miranda show last night at the village hall. I was bear withing because I'd forgotten to give Reverend Allen his code to get on the service. So it was bear with, bear with. Um, and of course, I say Dewberry an awful lot.
Mm.
But of course, it was just such fun.
Such sharks. Such sharks. Oh, Shelley's just watching Miranda.
Just watching right there. You go.
Yes. Amazing. Amazing. You're not sorted
Absolutely.
out.
You're not sorted it out for Monday one yet. No, not yet, but I will. I will, Daryl. I need to ask permission first, and you weren't there, so I thought I'd wait until you were back. So it's all your fault,
Ashley,
Daryl.
welcome.
Ashley, Reverend Ashley, hello, babe. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yes, he was in a good mood with that. Do you know what? That is the one thing that I found really, really strange, Tony. If I have to wait to buy a packet, if I'm running low and I'm not sure that I'm going to get it, I get really, really ratty. And yet I've been 2 days and 5 hours without them, and I ain't. Well, I've been a little bit grumpy twice. But yeah, it's really, really strange. I'm getting help,
Yes.
obviously, because of course I did give them up for Lent, but that is not on the agenda. Lent is not on the agenda.
No, no.
I thought I'd kick us off with a tale. We Tony and I were discussing, obviously, before we started,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought I'd kick you off with a spooky tale of wit, humour, laughter, and consequences that are really, really strange. And we have a question there. I keep seeing shadows in my house, and it's coming up my uncle's passing. Are spiritual events more prevalent around anniversaries? Yes,
Oh.
absolutely, because it is. Um, you and I are going to have a fallout, young lady. I'm kidding. You smoke away, love. If you brush it through the phone, I'll be more than happy. So yeah, spooky coincidences, and it does tie in actually. Um, I completely agree. Yes, dates matter. This is why spirit give us dates. They give us locations, places, and they try to tie everything in like some weird thread. Which brings me to today. You would think that I wouldn't have a funny story to tell about what I've been doing today, because as Tony knows,
No.
and as many of you watching who were there last night will know, um, I was conducting a spiritualist funeral today, for a lady that I had thought I'd never met. So let's talk about synchronicity, and synchronicity is the key of it, and that is where the dates and everything come in. Many know I used to work in a petrol station, um, quite a few different ones. It turned out that I was less than 200 yards from this lady's house, which is, yeah, fine, no worries. It turned out that she did used to be a regular customer of mine. Yeah, once again. So roll on to what I'm doing on Sunday. I'm doing a naming ceremony, and I didn't know who it was for. The father was. I just was been speaking to the mum about it. It turns out that the father used to work for me at that petrol station that I was next door to this lady. But it gets better. I get there today, and I'd only met the daughter of the lady that I was working for, and her aunt. So I stand waiting, and the car pulls up, and they all get out, and the young lady just says, "Oh, by the way, this is my partner, Craig, my husband, Craig." And we just looked at each other and laughed, because he was the bloke who used to come and fix the doors in said petrol stations.
Well, there you go. Everything ties up.
It really, really, it's such a small world, even though they didn't even originally contact me. They'd contacted Reverend Barbara because she's like that area. And she ended up breaking her hip, bless her, although she's back up on her feet now. In fact, she's serving us on Thursday. But, you know, the way that everything seems to just tie in, which then brings us to dates. These are easy tie-ins that spirit can make use of, I believe.
Yeah.
And they will always make use of any particular thread that will give them a way of having a go, letting you know, shining a light, waking you up, smacking you around the head just to keep you going. As this young lady today that I did the service for, she's very much a head slapper. Every time I went to do something that she didn't like, I just felt that on the back of my head. I did reference it in the funeral, to cheer
Yeah.
them up a bit, and they all recognise that kind of behaviour, to be fair. But they will use anything, and especially dates.
Yeah.
Tony, I'm sure you've had similar synchronicities, and especially dates as
Absolutely.
well.
Absolutely. In fact, I did a service last night for Signs for from the Afterlife, which is a Facebook page, and I was working for them. And it it happened that I got a date, a month, a date, and a month, and they were both the passings of the parents. So they do come through, and
Yeah.
I've got to be honest. If people started bombarding me with dates, I sort of go
Yeah.
because I'm hopeless at them. But it's when you go back and you get things that tie in. You know, when like ring my mum and say, "I got this date. I can't place it." Oh yeah, that was your auntie so and so's birthday, or that was, you know. So they do it all the time. They do it all the time, and it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And I just want to share a little snippet of last night. We were about to wrap up the service. We'd been going for, as we do, Nick. You know, you plan an hour and 10 minutes. It's like we better start wrapping this up, and we just both got. Jean and I were sat together, and this guy came straight between us and like, no, I need to talk to my mum. And oh, it was just, you know, I've always said it, and Stace will know as well as a medium. When you do a service, there's one message that you think, that's why I was here today. That's
Yes.
what that was for. And it was that one
Absolutely.
last night for me. And it was just so, it was tragic. He died in tragic circumstances. But the evidence he was giving to his mum about, I got a football shirt. I mean, you know, Nick, football, me. I just, I was just like, I can see there was something about a football shirt at his funeral, and his team had all signed. They'd had a shirt made with his nickname on the back, all signed it, and it was draped over his coffin. They then framed it and put it up in the clubhouse. The frame broke the other week, so Mum's now got it folded up in a drawer, and it's like, and I'm sure she said it was coming up to an anniversary. So absolutely, he came through and was like, I know it's coming up to a really bad time, but I'm here and I'm funny and I'm happy and oh
Yeah.
bless.
That is,
Yeah, tidy up. Yeah.
yeah. And you know what? I absolutely agree with you. That's not to say, of course, and you know, we love every message we give, of
Oh,
course. But
absolutely.
there's always
Absolutely.
that one particular one that you do think, like, yeah, that was definitely
Yeah.
the
I
money
mean,
shot for that individual, and
yeah,
it
it's
has
the
to be.
it's when you can see the healing happening before you as you're passing on
Yeah,
that message. That's what
absolutely.
it's for. We all love messages, and every message is unique and special and absolutely needed. But sometimes there's just that little bit more needed, and you get it,
Absolutely,
and you
yes.
can see that in front of you, that healing, and yeah,
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 it's just that. I mean, I'm sure I've told you the tomato plant incident. That was always
yeah, yeah,
one
yeah,
that
yeah.
really, really got me. I'm not going to tell it again today because I think everybody knows that I can tell the difference between tomato plants and cannabis. But I didn't then. But there is always that one that you and it's not like you're the only one that thinks it because everyone in the congregation as well will sit there and go, yeah. That's the
Yeah.
one. That's the one. And it
That was
is.
needed.
It
Yeah,
is. It is, and it's wonderful. It really, really is. And I'm glad you had a good night as well, to be fair,
it was. It was really good. It was really good. I'm just looking at that mess. That
Now, that one,
yeah.
coincidences are real. My son asked if his friend could stay over. He also wanted to go to Weston-super-Mare. When I asked his friend's mum, happens that her sister is on last days. Weston-super-Mare was her favourite place and she wanted to go before she passed. My son hadn't discussed it with his friend, but randomly wanted to go to Weston-super-Mare with his friend. So I'm definitely taking them Sunday for his friend's memories. Absolutely. Yeah. And
Spot on.
they will drop in random words to the untrained.
Mm.
untrained spirit ear. I call it that because there's no such thing as training for the youth of the world, because you don't need it, but you just don't understand it. Um, I think it's really, really important that everybody understands that young people naturally hear spirit. And I had something
Mm.
very similar, but it was Shelford. I was having a conversation in the playground, and this kid was telling me where he'd been for the weekend, and he was about to say the word, and he was talking, and so that's where we went. We went to, and I just said Shelford, and everyone in the playground looked at me like I was a complete and utter loony, and obviously that hasn't stopped since. But um, you know, these drop-ins that spirit will give you are amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're absolutely right, Shelley. There is no such thing as coincidence.
No.
So what does everybody else have experience-wise of coincidences? Now we've
Yeah.
clarified that they are
Share.
simply two events. I'm going to say this is your show. We will discuss, debate, and talk about whatever you want, within reason and good taste. And
Yeah.
sometimes we skirt that border too, which I don't mind either. Um, which once again reminds me of today. I do apologise. I've got to tell you, the young lady I was talking to, and you'll appreciate this. Maybe nobody else will, but you know what? The young lady that I was talking to, she said, "Yeah, Craig said as soon as he saw you, he recognised you." And I said, "Oh no, 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 no." And he said, "Oh yes, 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 yes. I know him because he always used to make me a cup of coffee. As soon as I got there, he was ever so nice." And after the service, we were all stood outside. I was hanging off of this. She was hanging off a rollie. And I said, "Well, yes, of course. I always used to make the coffee for the ones that looked cute." She got off laughing, and yeah, the kids have
Oh,
been picked up by now, so she should have actually told him by now as well, because she said she'd wait until after I'd left. Um, but yeah,
yeah.
you got to have a laugh, ain't you? You got to have a
You
laugh. And so,
have. You
yes, we
have.
do occasionally skirt good taste and decency, but only
Yeah.
skirt it. So, other than that, anything goes in the subjects and topics of debate.
Absolutely.
Stace said yes, of course. Stace was with me on Monday. We were co-hosts on Monday. She stood in for Dawn, bless
Oh.
her. Although technically me and Dawn are basically standing in for her, because she used to do the Monday slot
Mm.
back in the day. Spirit this week have randomly put me in the right place at the right time. Sunday with SPTV, Monday with Nick, and SPTV this morning with a private reading who had previously had a bad experience. Yes,
Yeah.
and they will. They'll make use of you. They'll make
Yeah.
use of
They
you.
will. They will. And
Um,
and I do love that I've had a couple of people come to me for a reading, and they'll say, "Well, I don't know. You see, you came recommended because last time I saw somebody, they were a bit,"
yeah,
that's when I feel you work that little bit harder to
yeah.
give them,
You
almost like
do.
to make up, even though it wasn't your fault. You want to give them that good experience.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and
Um,
and this is the thing. I mean, a lot of uh, really, you think you're that clever? Um, a lot of people in our way of life, especially mediums, psychics, workers for spirit, light workers, healers. There's a lot of people in our way of life that get really, really badly attacked and criticized and berated and bemoaned. I touched upon it last night, actually. We talk about ego a lot in this way of life.
yeah.
And I think there is always, as I said, and I'll keep this bit brief because I've already gone over this. See, I'm learning. I'm learning. Um, when it comes to ego, I think there's always a risk that the focus on ego is so great that prevents people from doing something that needs to be done because they're afraid of getting accused of ego. I actually think the biggest problem in this way of life isn't ego. I think it's jealousy.
Mm.
That if you're sitting there and criticizing somebody for doing a good job or doing something right or doing their best, you know, it's they've not done it through ego. They've done it because it's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I think there is a risk that we gob off about ego too much, which potentially runs the risk of restricting people. And there are some that will refuse. I mean, I know a lot of really, really stubborn Watsits in this way of life, and it's brilliant. You are one of them, I'm pleased to say, a stubborn Watsit at the very least. Um, and, stubbornness is a rejection of being dictated to,
Yeah.
and just get on and do the work. And but the problem is the whole ego debate sometimes prevents people from doing what needs to be done.
Yeah, absolutely. I would
And
agree with that.
certainly Stace has just proved that people do give us a chance, do give spiritualism a second chance, in spite of difficulties. And I think it is absolutely disgusting that anyone in this way of life should try and restrict each other. We are here to push each other forward. So I think I agree that there is a risk of ego in this way of life, but I personally think there is also a risk that the whole yakking on about it every 5 minutes risks restricting genuine exponents. And I think restriction bad.
Anything that constrains is bad, really,
Yes.
because I've run classes, you've run classes, Nick. We've seen people working for Spirit, and just because people work differently doesn't make it wrong.
Yeah.
We shouldn't sheep dip people into a mold that we see as the perfect medium
Correct.
healer, whatever. We should look at it and say, are they doing it safely? Are they doing it for the right reasons? And are they getting the proof of life eternal that is our job to do? If everything there is yes, 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 crack on,
Go
my
for it.
love.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
as long as you're not being offensive and rude about things while you stood up there delivering a message, go for it,
Yeah. I mean, we had a lovely young lady serving us last night, actually, and she said that you know what I'm like. People will stand there and say, "Oh, I don't know whether I can say this," and I say, "Oh, yes, go on, go on, go on." And sometimes I've regretted it. And she did last night. She says, "I've got something." I was like, "Oh, go on, say it, say it, say it." And she said, "Oh, no, 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 no." I said, "Tell you what, whisper it in my ear." And I just managed to push the button on a microphone, realised it was there before she whispered. And it really was something she was quite right about, not saying. She
Yes,
knew
yes,
her own limits, she knew her own levels. And I was trying to say, "Oh, lighten up, don't worry." But actually, she was right.
yes, yeah.
So people can measure themselves, control themselves in a way that is, oh my word, he's back on Facebook.
Congratulations and celebrations.
Thank you, of course,
Thank
Eunice.
you.
I thought you'd probably be on that same page with us. It's absolutely yes. But look, Daryl's back on Facebook. He's got his account back. He's got his account.
Congratulations, dear.
Good boy. Right, no
Congratulations.
excuse for not doing your own works now. But yeah, it's
Shade.
really, really, Oh,
And yeah, yeah, I saw
yeah.
that.
But yeah, I think we. Can I just say it as it is? I think sometimes in this way of life we need to just grow up.
Yeah, yeah. I do believe that. I mean, I've been, the old saying about if you see a bunch of, excuse me, all the ladies on here, but it's something my mum says, and I see where she's coming from. No, there's a group of females or gay men sitting round a table, none of them want to be the first one to go to the toilet because they're all going to bleat about the one that's on the top. I've been in groups of mediums where you think, oh, God, you know, but it's, yes, Stace, absolutely, bravo. And if you can be upfront about it and say, I'm having a bit of a rough day, this is going to be a bit patchy, but here we go.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine. And we've all seen the mediums up on rostrums in halls where you think all you need is a sparkly suit and jazz hands.
Yeah.
That's not for me. That's
No.
not my style. But if they are entertaining and are delivering messages from spirit, that's fine. If that's their style. But we, like I said at the beginning, we all work differently and we all have a place where there is ego and where ego takes over the work. People need to remember spirit can take away as quickly that which they gave.
Yes, they can.
And they
Absolutely.
do. I've seen it happen.
Yes.
I know a couple of mediums who went off and, oh, I'm going to be filling halls and I'm going to be playing arenas, and they're back on the church circuit, and if
Yeah.
the churches will take them back. Um,
Yeah.
you know, but Nick re-quote the thing about stones,
Stones, e.g.,
e.g.,
only
only
do
do.
and
Oh,
ah,
yeah.
yes, of course. My meme. Um,
Don't throw bloody
yeah,
stones.
the passage from John, I think it's 8:7, that it basically let he who is without sin cast the first stone, and I just scribbled underneath it in, is scribbled font. In other words, just don't throw bloody stones. And I know it's a very Lord Sugar kind of phrase. Just don't throw bloody stones.
Well,
But
it's true.
it is. And
And
Pauline Wallace, I totally agree with you. We all work differently and need to support each other.
exactly.
Completely.
When I do my lives, Jean, myself, and Irene, we always say, if you are a medium out there and you want to come on, just let us
Yeah.
know, and you're more than welcome to come on anytime you want. You know, it's not about, oh, that'll cut down my screen time, and you know.
Let me tell you, everyone, I know for a fact that Reverend Tony is very giving with his private area access. I don't know.
That's a
Don't
whole
pull up.
different live, Nick.
I do apologise. Oh, he's very giving with the access code to the green room. That's it.
Yes, yes.
Because he's seen my name pop up.
Jason, enough.
Sorry,
I know what
I do
Jason's
apologise.
thinking.
Yeah, I know what everybody. I certainly know what you were thinking by the face you pulled. Yeah, not for the first time, Shelley, have I pulled the wrong words out of my mouth. But yeah, every time I've seen he's seen my name pop up, suddenly I've got this access code come up on the phone, and it's like, come on in if you're not doing anything, So
Yeah,
this is it, though. We support each other, we look after each other. That is the way of life is, especially
absolutely.
Reverend Tony, Bishop of Funny Looks, when I say the wrong thing. Um,
Yes.
I do apologise for that brief
Facebook
fungabooboo.
user is Miles. I've just seen his
Oh,
name
hello,
come up.
Miles. So love is the stone in your hand, and the calm lake needs someone to spread the love by throwing in the water. It may start something beautiful for all. Absolutely, completely agree. Completely agree.
Definitely,
You know, and
definitely.
and I think it was last night I was talking about turning things around and throwing it in reverse. Because obviously I've given up the old cigarettes for Lent
Mm.
in the hope that I just don't start them again. But there was this lady I was talking to. She says, "Oh, I don't give things up. I do studies." I said, "Oh yeah." She says, "Yes, I just do some work. I do some reading and learning." I said, "Well, you are giving something up. You're giving up your gap in knowledge." And she's like, "Oh, I'm going to use that." Um, you know, you can
Yeah.
turn everything around to a positive. And Chrissy, I am glad you're still there. I was starting to worry that starting to worry that you'd gone out for a fag, not come back. But I did see. I think we are having April showers. Do you know what? On the way back today, I kid you not, it was persistently pouring down. It was terrible. It was terrible. You were you were looking a bit worried there, boy.
Yeah.
Um,
I was like, oh.
what's it on? What's it gonna? Yeah, you wouldn't be the first person today to say what's in there.
Mm.
But, but no,
Horrible.
I think we can turn things around. We can turn negatives into positives. We can turn. We do have to be careful also that it's just as equally we can turn positives into negatives. That does happen. But I think if we're all vigilant and careful with each other and just support each other and be wonderful to each other and have a laugh and a joke and dump the whole I think I'm going to start calling it jealousy rather than ego because I think that's sometimes more accurate. What do people think? Which is more of a risk, jealousy or ego? What do people think?
Mm. Mm.
Share your thoughts.
Yeah, you definitely do, please. Um, my mum's friend believes that mediumship is a devil. Oh dear. Mm. I'll
Yes,
bite my lip on that one.
I won't.
No, I
You know that
probably
I'm
won't.
not holding back today, love. Um, it shows a lack of knowledge,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and I'm sure Um, James, that your mum is more than capable of holding her own against her friend. Um, especially when your mum suggests that for Lent everyone should give up listening to me live on TV. Um, that was brilliant. I loved every minute of it. Thank you, darling. Um, and you know what? I'm actually quite surprised. Um, the so far jealousy is winning as
It
word.
is. Yeah. I I had somebody say to me once in a church about they'd had somebody the previous week and oh, it was a bit no, lots of messages, but very little proof of who was the connection, and it was all about me, 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 and every situation that he was explaining, every message he was given, sorry, ended up about him, and it was all ego, and then the chair trotted out the phrase that I'd never heard and I thought was really good: an ego is edging God out. And I thought,
Yeah,
oh yeah, because you're looking inwards and and
yeah,
and focusing in, where for me, in any way, and I've no doubt comments will come up if people don't agree with me. I think what we do as mediums is to look out and look outwards to spirit and to the people in front of us who need the help. So I would think, because if you look at it, jealousy, you can be jealous of something but not act on it. I
yeah,
might covet the stuff on your shelf behind you, but I won't come and nick it. But so I'm doing no harm in that sense. But I think if you're blinkered and looking into yourself and stroking your ego and making everything about you, you're missing out on so much, and people are missing out on the real you.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
just my two penneth.
No, I agree. Do you know what? It could well be that they are the spiritualist two deadly sins that they go hand in hand,
Mm,
um, and one can inflame the other.
yeah, yeah.
I certainly think that when it comes to the constant barrages of oh, that's ego, be careful of ego. We are at risk of becoming that which we claim to hate so much. So, perhaps you're right, Tony. Maybe it is a combination of the two because you can, you know, eh, jealousy, yeah, you don't have to act on it to still have it. And the bad part is the acting on it, not the not the necessarily having it. The ability to control. We are supposed to be mediums where we can control this inflow of spirit. We can shut it down so that we can sleep. We can switch it back on so we can work. Well, we should also be able to control these baser human animalistic nurges.
Ooh,
Um,
there we
nurges,
go again.
urges,
Urges, even. Yes,
urges. Um, So we're getting a lot of comments here. I love it.
we are. It's
A lot of
brilliant.
jealous people are very negative because they are uneducated. Yes, absolutely, and that certainly ties in with a lot of what we've been saying. Thank you, Chrissy. People do some terrible things when they are jealous. They just are not aware that they also have what it takes to be the best version of themselves. Bless you, Joanne, my lovely. Um, I don't trust a person who claims Ribena is full of sugar whilst holding a hot chocolate. I'm assuming this is the homophonic friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's all about uh, standards. A lot of people judge people by their own standards rather
Yeah.
than you
Yeah.
know. And yeah, Shelley, you're right. You can. Oh, hang on, I pressed the wrong button there. Spread negative lies or stuff for those you are jealous of. Yes, the acting honest. Yeah, I,
Yeah.
I, I think that's absolutely right. It's the acting on that's the problem, not necessarily the actual thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you know what? I think it was brilliant. I loved that. James is referencing the fact that the autocorrect turned homophobic to homophonic. Um,
Homophonic.
I
Yep.
thought that was brilliant, actually.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
cheers.
Yes. But yes, it is the acting on it that's the negative thing. I mean, I've learned sometimes in life to take a moment before I act on something and just, why do I want to do that? You know,
Yeah.
and if it is for sometimes doing things for purely for self gain isn't a bad thing though. In terms of stroking ego and building ego, sometimes you do need to just take that moment to build yourself up.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
yeah, burned by the autocorrect,
Burn
James. I
by
love that.
burn. um,
Burn.
burn. Oh, there's another coincidental one, but we won't go into that one. But yeah, um, you just triggered a memory in me, Tony, when
Oh,
you was talking about you know, that there's a difference between stroking an ego and building yourself up. And this is always been my concern with ego and the way we constantly rave about it. When it comes to what we do have to work for what we've got, and sometimes it can be a really, really, really hard slog up a mountainside. What's the
hmm
first thing you do when you reach the top of the mountain? You jump for joy, then sit down and have half an hour and rest.
yeah.
So it's okay to celebrate your successes, and that certainly, in my view, isn't ego.
No,
Um,
no, absolutely not.
and so I completely agree with you, mate. I really, really do. Um, Chrissy says, I love everyone and never judge anyone and like to get to know them before I come to my own conclusions. I never listen to other people' judgment of other people. Quite
No.
right. Um, you know, judge not lest ye be judged, as the old book
Yes.
says. You know, um, I think in all seriousness, the problem isn't just with spiritualism when it comes to the whole ego versus jealousy versus what have you. I think it's a societal problem.
Mm.
Because we live in a. Think about it. Um, Social media has exploded. It has become absolutely massive, and you know what? It has been able to be a huge, huge, huge force for good. You know, you only got to think about the fact that it weren't for social media, we would never have actually really worked together.
Absolutely not.
Because we reached out on social media during the pandemic. We worked together more than I'd worked with people for years. You know, one particular person. You know, we got to meet the lovely Matthew Stackley, and all of our congregations got to swoon over the lovely Matthew Stackley,
Oh,
all
yeah.
because of social media. And you know, I don't know what his trick is, but just seems to be getting better and better with age. You know, he's more like a wine than a human being. But
Mm.
don't tell him anybody I said that.
No, no.
You know, it's just between us. Between us. It's not like it's on record for the rest of time or anything. But you know, so social media has been a huge, huge, huge force for good. If you look at some of the lovely people that are on here today, Jen, Shelley, they're all part of the circle. Also, you know, Daryl, he's on the Monday one. But there's one person on our Wednesday circle who lives in France. She wouldn't be able to do what she does if it wasn't for social media. But then you see the flip side of it. It becomes a magnifying glass, and quite often a magnifying glass over an ant in the sunlight. It creates
Yeah.
such a focus and a point on individuals and singles people out when they don't want to be singled out. Plus, you've then got the ones that do want to be singled out screaming "Hello, world." You know, it does make it hard to tell the difference sometimes because you know, if you've got a voice out there on social media, good on you. You've obviously worked for it. You've obviously done something to get there. I don't give a damn about how many followers I've got. The only thing that I ever really worried about was on YouTube. If I could get over 100, I could manage to get a shorter code. That was all I cared about. You know, just to make it easier to find the damn thing.
Mm.
But you know, it's troubling really that wonderful forces for good can be turned into a negative, and
Yeah.
and certainly social media is one of them, and that's created a macrocosm of focus where you only see a window into someone's life. And
Mm.
that's the problem when you only see a window in their life. You do judge them like that. And you know, I'm a great one for sayings. There is an old saying, never judge a book by its cover. Well, I'm sorry, but we're human beings, and what is the point of having a cover on a book if not to judge what the book's like inside? So you do judge books by it. We try not to, but we've
Absolutely.
invariably end up doing because that's what book cover is for. But social media creates these really, really focused book covers, and people judge people based on them, and that is where it is. Don't judge a book by its cover. Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
example, if you think about it, for anyone who watches soaps, Coronation Street at the moment, there's a storyline going on that one of the characters is being stalked,
Mm.
and nobody will do anything because she's social media. She was found on social media, and they follow her on social media. And so they're saying that she's created this window into her life, and it's her problem and her fault. And then she put in a complaint. I really hope that this was not based on reality, but unfortunately, the storylines can be based on true stories. I hope it wasn't. But she went and put in a police report, and then she started getting comments from the policeman that she'd reported it to on her social media. And unfortunately, that
Mm.
kind of thing does happen. And so it is creating a macrocosm of your life. So I think people should, of course, be careful what cover it is that they're creating. But certainly without social media, you know,
It's done so much good, especially through the pandemic, because
absolutely.
um, so many people would have not had the spiritual guidance and the contact with their loved ones if we hadn't been able to shift how we work. and bring mediumship online. Um, I just wanted to pick up
Trace.
Trace's
Yep,
comment.
there we go. If it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't have found you guys. Also, I wouldn't have traced my husband's mother, who he hadn't seen in 54 years, and reunited them. She had been vilified by his family all of his life. Now we are able to hear her side of the story, and we find he was raised on mistruths. That's judgment. Trace, thank you for sharing that, and absolutely. Hope your mum's all right, by the way, or at least getting better.
Mm,
Um, yeah, this is the problem. There are so many good things that can be flipped over and turned into a
yeah,
negative. That
yeah,
that magnifying glass over the ant kind of thing.
yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
think about it. A magnifying glass is to help people see, and yet it can be used. Thank you for the cue, James. Be burned.
Mm, yeah. And to pick up the other point of Trace's about for 54 years, his mum had been vilified to him. Isn't this just, again, let he who is without sin cast the first stone? Because,
Yeah,
don't judge somebody till you've heard their side of the story, and you can make your own judgment on things. Um, it it's just that's just the epitome of it.
yeah.
He could have gone his whole life without having his mum in his life because he'd listened to
Other
stuff.
people.
Yeah, I nearly
Yeah.
said a naughty word then, and I managed to get stuff out before it came out of my mouth.
Bless it. It's one of them days, isn't it? It
it,
really,
it,
really is.
they were
Jen,
working with me in such a strange way last night, and everything was just on the tip of my tongue. And I had to take a breath and I can't say that.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And once again, Jen, I know because
Mm,
Jen, and Jen was introduced to me by Cherry, who is the lady en français. And yeah, Jen, I would have never have got to know you. I'd have never have been able to sit in your caravan. Um, while you were on holiday, teaching you how to meditate. All these crazy things that we do, like next
mm,
week, cut up a coat hanger and bring some pen cases, and all stuff like that we get up to. And it is social media that's done that for us. So I completely agree with the lovely Veronica. It is
mm,
not social media that is the problem, but it is human nature of the people who use it. At the end of the day, it is a tool like those, and it is the
mm.
person using that will define whether it is good or bad. And do you know what? I think that's the
Bravo.
crux of it. Yeah, absolutely. Bravo. It is the crux of it. It's the same when it comes to jealousy. It's the same when it comes to social media. Same when it comes to anything. We are the ones who define it. I completely agree, Veronica.
Perfectly
Thank you
said.
very much.
Perfectly
Yeah,
said.
absolutely, absolutely. As at the end of the day, it is a tool.
It is. It is. And it's the same with everything. It really is. And that picks up on Shelley's comment just below it as well, actually. It's not nice to judge, but sometimes you do when trying to protect yourself. Absolutely. It's
Yeah,
something we always say um, when we meet new people is we don't judge, we take people as they are. But actually, that's not true because you do. That's human nature. And
yeah,
again, it's that choice of not choosing to act on that judgment until you know that person, know their story. That's what's important. And hi, Lorraine. It was
hi,
lovely to wait
Lorraine.
for you last
Good to
night.
see you. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And of course, her ears must have been burning. She's been mentioned a couple of times. Hello, au français, mademoiselle. Sherry Ann from Francais. Well, I say she's Sherry Ann from Francais, but actually she's originally from the South Coast.
Mm.
But she's definitely not got a French accent, that's for sure, in it, right, Cherry? But yeah, I'm sure your ears must have been burning. We have been talking about you. We were
All
talking about
good.
how
All
social
good, by the
media
way.
is brilliant. Oh, absolutely. We were talking about social media and how it has been important. And I was quoting you a couple of times on it as well, and Jen was chipping in with the same comments. Oops.
Mm.
Welcome, darling. What has Chrissy got to say? Oh, hello. Your service was lovely last night. I would love to be able to come to a service, but it's too far. And this is the thing. This is the thing, because I mean, Tony, you have to literally just move the whole house down for a night,
Yeah.
just to come and service. So it's a once a year jobby. Um,
Yeah.
and it is hard. It really, really is hard in some of these places. But you wouldn't be. I mean, Trace, on the grand scheme of things, is a lot closer than many other people. But she lives in this particular area, where we live, where there is constant roadworks, and it can be really, really hard to get down here. Um, but yeah. Do you know what?
Well said, Daryl.
My child, you are learning, you are wonderful, and I love you. You are still part of the service watching online. In actual fact, Eunice has been on today. Her husband, Tony, um, who does the healing, who I keep going to call Reverend Tony, it winds him up because he thinks I'm threatening him to become a minister. Um, he's figured out a way of putting a bigger screen up in the hall, so I
Oh.
can now read the comments from the chair.
Oh.
And so, I was able to actually say hello to Chrissy last night and read what was being said. That's how I knew it was an idea of Chrissy's that we give up listening to Reverend Nick for Lent. Um,
As
you know,
if.
but you see, this is the thing. And I think, this is where social media does work sometimes. I like to think that my self-loathing and mockery comes across in the intent that it's meant that people can feel free to speak as they feel, have a laugh and a joke, have a sense of humour, be silly, ridiculous, be sarcastic, be witty, however, and I won't take offence because I don't. And Chrissy, thank you. You actually proved that last night. So I actually
Mm.
thank you. And Daryl, totally agree with you. You certainly are a part of the service, and perhaps even more so now, thanks to Tony's tinkering with the tinkering
Screens.
with the screens. So and Cherry, you've just woken up. You're an hour ahead of us. What have you been up to, dear? I hope you're all right. Um,
Mm.
Bless your heart. I seriously do hope you're all right. It was
Mm.
just a nodding. She's laughing, so I'm hoping so. Um, you know what? This is, though, a very good point.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes you don't realise you're judging. You remove yourself from people you're uncomfortable with to protect yourself, but it is harsh to call it judging. Yeah, yeah. I think you've had a conversation there all of your own, and that was really, really good logic, I have to say.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't realise you're judging, and you do remove yourself from people, but then is it too harsh to call it judging? Perhaps not. I personally think self-preservation, um, in that sense, is always a good thing. A perfect example, I always tell people, if they want to help people, they've got to put themselves between. They've got to protect themselves from harm. So sometimes you do have to remove yourself from a situation to protect yourself. And so, there is sometimes when you don't realize you do it, but then I don't call that judging people. I just call that being human,
Mm.
because
Yeah.
these things happen, and you shouldn't be so. I mean, the person you're being most harsh with at the moment in that analogy is yourself.
It is.
Because you're judging yourself for potentially judging somebody when all you've done is protect yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and for me,
And
that shows kindness.
I've had, I was actually, Trace has just picked up on, I've had people who, um, I always say in any relationship, friendship, whatever, it's a two-way street. But when somebody's doing all the taking and you're doing all of the giving and you're getting exhausted, I call them energy vampires or emotional vampires as well. trace. So in that instance, you do have to remove yourself and walk away, because otherwise you would just burn out, and you can't. And spirit wouldn't let you do that. And I think that's why sometimes you get that little tingle in your gut that tells you, there's something going on here that I'm not happy about. It's
Yeah.
spirit saying, come on, come away, come away.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, protecting yourself is different. I think you have to sometimes. I really,
Mm.
really do. And I don't think that's judgment. And I certainly don't think that you are anything other than human, Shelley. By the way, you are a lovely human being at that. You all are.
Oh,
It's
absolutely,
it's
absolutely.
now. I'll judge a person on the same level that I've been judged. I'll draw parallels. Oh, bless you, James. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now
Yeah,
I've got a hard
absolutely.
one because everyone's been really brilliant with the comment. Thank you, friends. Keep it up. Keep it up. We love the comment.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Social media has many positives, and then you get the lessons where I had someone with a fake account trying to have their wicked way with me, telling me to download another chat account, and it seemed like they were two very different people. I ended up talking to because I became very suspicious. And so I washed my teeth this morning. I can't put them back in properly. I became very suspicious and blocked them before they got me to part with any money. Yeah, there is
Absolutely.
there is always that risk. So you have got to protect yourself. Always.
And that ties in with another comment I saw somewhere about intuition. Stace, I would say that there's a difference between judging yourself and following intuition, which ties up to that one.
And it
Um,
ties back, of course, to what Jen said as well. Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Little bows. I love it when we get the little bows. The little bows. Um, Judging is a personal opinion, and intuition is based on the vibrational energy that waves with your spirit. Absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely. It's that spirit niggling at you and saying, we're not happy about this. Just be
yeah.
careful. But if I get that in a message that I'm giving somebody, I will always say, but that's the advice of spirit. We have free will as human beings. If you choose to stay in this situation, that's your choice. But what I would say is don't go crying to spirit when it goes pear shaped, because they'll just go, nah, told you.
Yeah,
No, they don't. They
absolutely.
don't.
Absolutely. Now, I've got to share this one. Social media is fantastic. If it weren't for social media, nobody would know about my provocative dance to the milkshake song. My mum is so proud of me.
I bet
Chrissy,
she is.
Chrissy, we're going to have to be speakings. I want to see this. I want to see
Yeah,
this.
we need
You
to
know,
find that on social media.
I have sent you the Zen song. Now I've got to see James's provocative milkshake dance.
We all need to see James's provocative milkshake dance.
Absolutely.
Um, no,
And you know,
Linda,
uh,
it's council pop. In other words, water.
uh, I've never heard it called that before.
My mum always calls it council pop.
Oh, I
She
love that.
she won't she won't drink just normal water. She has to have something with it.
Yes.
It's council pop and it's not nice. But
And I have to say, I'm loving the community that's building up around this show. The way everyone's chatting with each other and having a laugh. Um, you know,
mm,
look, I'm sweet and innocent, Chrissy. I don't know a
absolutely.
lot of stuff. There's so much I don't know about this world. You know, I'm sweet and innocent.
Mm-hmm.
And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. Um, oh, yeah. Um, there was something else I wanted to bring up there. Um, yes, Stace. My gran used to say, if you don't listen or choose not to listen, then they will make you feel. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. Now,
Oh,
oh,
oh, oh, you found it.
yeah. Lorraine, could I please have your opinion on the fact that there are so many up and coming mediums out there that are hell bent on making a business of mediumship and spiritualism? It really used to be a way of life and helping others rather than just transactions. The philosophy doesn't seem to be expressed very often.
Oh, I can I pick up first?
Of course you can. Of course you can.
I've had this debate with myself many, many times, Lorraine. I have no problem if somebody wants to be a full-time spiritualist, medium, whatever. We all have bills to pay. That's absolutely fine. I have no issue with that at all. I have an issue where we discussed it earlier. It's the glittery suits, the jazz hands. I'm an entertainer. I've had a situation where I've been doing a live feed and quite a well-known medium has contacted one of the people I gave a reading to and said, "Oh, your son's with me now and I've got messages for you." Gave them a couple of freebies and then they were hooked in and on it went and on it went. That's a different issue. That's a different issue altogether. If you are doing it and you are taking expenses and enough to pay your bills and everything else, absolutely fine. That's fantastic, and I hope it works for you. It's like I said, it's that flip side for me that when it becomes less about the giving and more about the taking, as we said earlier, that's where it becomes an issue. And philosophy, the reason we are here doing what we do today is because we too know that we too had a conversation about many churches now are trimming and trimming and trimming and trimming philosophy, and and for me that's the important bit. Or it's as important as the mediumship. So we wanted to keep the philosophy alive and well, and hence we are here on a Friday rabbiting away and boring the pants off people. So in short, wasn't short actually, Lorraine, but there we go. That's my take
20
on it.
pence worth. Yeah,
Yeah.
20 pence worth. Right,
Yeah.
I'm going to chuck a quid in the pot now because you
Oh,
know how I feel. Right. I have always been, and I agree with you, of the opinion that anyone who is providing a service should be able to, keep a roof over their head and food in their belly. And I know from the wording that you've used, Lorraine, that that's not your problem. There has been, as you say, um, so many up and coming mediums out there that are hell bent on making a business of mediumship and spiritualism. So it's a case of, I've been to a couple of workshops, I've sat in circle for a couple of times, I've watched everyone else do it. I want to make some, hay out of this, and they're going along with it completely regardless of what it means to be spiritualism.
mm-hmm.
And the philosophy for me, the same for Tony, and I can tell it's the same for you, Lorraine. I mean,
It
I don't think
absolutely
we
is.
know each other, but I think we would probably have a wild time together because for me, the philosophy is everything. It is what makes us stand out as a way of life. I will never see. There you go. I figured it out because you and we're cut from the same cloth. I think um, because
You should bob along to their group, Signs of the Afterlife.
I
Fabulous
will
group.
follow you after the show, Lorraine. Because yeah, oh, the one that you was on with yesterday.
Yeah, that's the one.
Ah, that makes sense now. Um, you know, the whole point of what we do is to help people. Yes, I gave up a full time job to go into mediumship and spiritualist ministry full time. I always ask for the average price and go to the bottom of the average price. Um, I run a development workshop online, um, and I charge £4 a week because it used to be £3 when I sat in Circle 20 years ago. Because I want it to be available for the many, not the few. I want people to feel that they can afford to do it without breaking the bank. And because I'm not in it to make myself into a millionaire, I want to be able to spend every waking hour that I have got giving to people what Spirit have given to me. Those wonderful synchronicities, the laughter, the upliftment, the love, the passion, and the philosophy and the proof that this way of life can be of benefit to so many people. And when you have got people rejecting the idea that philosophy is pointless for the sake of getting bums in seats, it really does wind me up, because we might as well just drop centre, drop church, drop all of the fancy names and just call it a blooming social club, because that is what it becomes. We are better and more. The work of Spirit is better than more. All of those unknown mediums who work the circuit, there are so many mediums out there that are exceptionally talented, genuine servants for Spirit, that if you were to travel about 20 miles out of their hometown, you'd never even hear of them. But they are just so exceptionally hard workers for Spirit, and they work so passionately for Spirit, and they spread the word of Spirit. They don't care about whether it's bums on seats. They just want to help people. And without the philosophy, without the passion, and without those quiet voices, we are doomed to be a social club. And that would be horrendous for them and all of the next generation, because there are a lot of up and coming mediums that genuinely are very philosophical. There are a lot of up and coming mediums that are genuinely are excellent, exponents for Spirit. But when we sacrifice all that we are in order to try and make everyone like us, we are no longer what we are.
No.
And I have found that the philosophy is the side that weeds out. And it doesn't have to be boring and miserable either. I mean, I never even talk about Jesus. I talk about my mate Joshua Carpenter. It gives everyone a laugh, if nothing else. And I just think that philosophy doesn't have to be that boring lecture that you used to have, in certain generations. The world is a better place. People are talking more, and the fact that we've got a consistent number of people joining in this conversation proves that the philosophy is wanted and certainly is needed. And I would never sacrifice philosophy for anything. I would rather spend 2.5 hours talking about spiritualist philosophy than, sit there on my backside on a Friday afternoon doing nothing.
Absolutely.
And I
Absolutely.
think it is exactly what Eunice has just said, actually.
Absolutely. Yes.
Philosophy
I've just
makes
seen it.
people ask questions and therefore get involved and grow. So I don't know whether that actually answers your question, Lorraine. I think it does, because it says, yeah, I think it's atrocious that philosophy is being lost. Thank you to my circle members for the very kind words. Bless you. That's very, very kind of you. Um, I have found another relative of my great granddad's side. I didn't know they existed. Um, I think I was relating to another comment from before. Um, Cherry, the lovely Cherry. Me too, Jen. I love our Wednesday afternoons. Aw. And yeah, the whole group are just lovely, lovely people. Lorraine, bless you. No, it's not
It's
just you.
definitely not just you.
And do you know what? I know people will. Well, this is that. There's a bit of judgment there. There is a certain quarter who will endeavour to impress upon us that we are in a minority. Hello, Michael. We are not, and as I'm sure you're seeing by the comments, you are definitely not in a minority. You are not
No.
on your own. We all love everyone who's on here is all about the philosophy. It is it is the yardstick by which we learn, if nothing else.
Absolutely.
And to quote Trace, it's brilliant. We all fit together so well. Yeah, absolutely. Joanne says, I love the philosophy that my guides bring through in trance. I was told that churches are not interested in philosophy anymore. Left me feeling that churches wasn't the one for me. Trust me, Joanne, we will do it. I actually, because last week I did a whole night on philosophy at a church in our
Oh, the
area.
Q&A. Yeah, yeah.
Q&A. That was wonderful. I loved it. It's coming back, babe. It is coming back. I found that many genuine mediums, etc., on SBTV. If I want more in-depth readings, I don't mind paying because I trust them completely. But it is also a business. I would never do this myself without involving Christianity. Whereas Christian spiritualists, um, yeah, that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Come to Little Port, Nick loves it. I'm sure he's referring to the philosophy. But yeah, we love it here, Lorraine. So you are definitely part of the family, and you certainly are not alone. And it can be hard because when you have a view that is seemingly, and this is, I think, important, when you have a view that is seemingly against the majority, i.e., philosophy important, doesn't necessarily mean that it is against the majority, because as I am reminded, it's, do you know, we should have a VT for this. Babylon 5 quote. Babylon 5 quote. The quiet ones change the universe, while the loud ones take all the credit.
Yeah.
The quiet ones, the ones that just get on and work and listen and learn and develop and grow, they're the quiet ones who change the world. The loud ones just take the credit and want it to be their own way. And that is absolutely a view of it.
Mm.
But, I think you are less alone than you think. And certainly, you know what, Joanne, I think you're less alone,
Mm.
than
Yeah,
you
yeah.
think. And, can you just clarify where you say one person's point of view? Was it one person's point of view that put you off churches? Um, because don't let it, because there's more people out there in churches like you than you think when it comes to philosophy being a really important
Mm.
aspect. I mean, I've never been whinged at, which is surprising, really. When we do our philosophy on a Thursday night, I've always said to the medium, if you want to do a bit of philosophy before you start your demo as well, they won't mind. No one's ever complained about that.
It
Yeah,
was a
thank you.
particular church. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'd love to have you in our church, Joanne, because I know we've spoken previously online. It's just a shame that we're all so far apart, but we still have the internet. Um, but yeah, I I don't get how people can think that philosophy bad. I
No,
really don't.
no. It's where the learning comes in, the teaching. No, we don't complain about Nick's chats. I have to say, I can't always watch the whole service if I've missed it on a Thursday night, but I always try and catch that first 15, 20 minutes just to catch up on where Nick's thinking
Yeah,
is
just to
going.
prepare you for the next day, innit?
Yeah, for the Friday, it's like, oh, what am I going to walk into?
Yeah,
But no,
absolutely.
it's these chats are amazing. That they've really been wonderful. These past few weeks have really inspired me and kept me going.
Yeah. Do you know what? Same.
Who's that?
Um, it's.
Your mum.
Thanks, Mum. Love you. Um, she's probably right though, to be fair. But no, I totally agree with you, Tony. The whole way this has turned out. I was worried that it would be talking heads. We just sit here
Yeah.
talking to a screen and each other. and no interaction, but actually it is everyone at home watching that is growing the conversation, driving the conversation, navigating the conversation, and really, really heavily involved. Plus, talking to each other and ignoring us, which is brilliant.
Yeah,
Uh, I love it.
absolutely.
I really, really love it, and I want to thank everybody watching actually for
Absolutely.
making me a little bit more hopeful on that subject of philosophy.
Well, when you think when we first were discussing it, it was like, oh, monthly, or do you think, we could get away with fortnightly?
Yeah,
And we tried fortnightly, and now we're weekly.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I never believed that it would go weekly. I never really believed that it would go weekly. But so long as
No,
people want it, they'll get it.
exactly.
I've cleared my Friday afternoons. Um, Veronica.
Mm,
It's the mediumship that draws people in and the philosophy that keeps and changes them.
bravo.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I took my born again Christian to midnight mass um, 2 years ago, and she said it was a bit poncy. I thought you only found two. So, yeah, there is always there's always going to be somebody who whinges. Oh,
Mm,
your friend. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Um, there's always going to be somebody who's got something to say. Like for instance, with Joanne,
mm,
and that one person in that particular church that
put her off.
put her off. But
Yeah.
the wisdom to understand is important. As if it dies down, there is no growth. Do you know what? You could write a book out of everybody. Yeah, everyone
Oh,
write a page, and then we'll publish it.
yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Everyone write a page and we'll publish it. All proceeds to charity. We could actually do something like that, If everyone wants to write a poem or a couple of pages on their own philosophy, we could
Mm,
organise it into a book, and we could, do it for charity.
of
People could.
course we could.
We could use the Spiritline page to do one of those polls that decided we go weekly, and
Mm,
and then everyone could decide which charity it could go to.
exactly. Exactly. You couldn't print it, Nick, says Chrissy. We'd have to edit.
Chrissy, there's such a thing as blacking out or asterisks. I can edit for that,
Hmm.
Um, but no, it's just something we could think about, maybe for
Absolutely.
the
Absolutely.
future. I'd like to get my book finished at some point. I've just been, please God, thank you. I'm not complaining. I've just been so busy. I haven't had a chance to write anything this week. Um, oh, bless you. So Shelley's off to go and get the kids. So she's um, my daughter. Oh, not the
Yeah,
kids, just the daughter.
just the
Um,
door.
Shelley's off, but we'll still be listening. So now we can talk about you, love. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Shelley, I have to say, has come on a long way since I first met her. And do you know what? I think it is the philosophy that's done that. It's not necessarily the messages. It's
No.
the philosophy, the talking to people, and actually the people in the comments. That's the biggest theme I've noticed. Whatever it's been, wherever we've been and we've seen each other together, it is the community of
Yeah.
spiritualism that exists within pixels and fonts.
Yeah.
Who'd believe that you could create a community out of a few electrical impulses? Isn't it amazing?
It's,
And
it's
that's the positive side of
superb.
social media.
Absolutely superb. Yeah. There you go again, little boat.
Yeah. Oh, aren't they good? Heck yeah. But no, I absolutely love it. And so long as everyone wants it, we'll keep giving it
Yeah.
to you.
We'll be here every Friday if you need us. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you all so
James is
very.
amazing at writing and poetry.
Well, there you
Well,
go, James.
the one that just walked through that there door is good at it as well.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Ah,
Oh, bless you. That's what we're here for.
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely what we're
And in
here for.
actual fact, you can you, you can thank Chrissy. We get pretty good plug on Mondays on Brighten Your Day. Chrissy, don't forget on Friday, and you know, in fairness, Richard bless his heart, he always brings up the comment so that I can reference it. You know, and it's just so wonderful how all of, because if you remember when we first started getting together, our churches started, you know, blending and bleeding, and then
Mm.
everything we got involved in was blending and bleeding, and you know, and it still continues to do so. Um,
Oh, Facebook user is my friend Leslie.
Hello, Leslie.
Could she have some healing, please? That the puppy crossed the rainbow bridge last
Oh,
night.
yes,
So,
I know how you feel. Bless you. My sister's dog Jupe crossed the Rainbow Bridge too this week.
oh,
Um,
I'll put them in my prayers.
so yes, of course we will, Leslie. Um, right, where that jump.
Yeah.
Um, please post about this, as I always forget. You have this one, and I know a lot more people who'd be interested if they knew it was on. Well, we also, hang on, let me see if I can be crafty here. I don't know whether I put it in the right place or not. No, I didn't. We do have a Facebook group page called Spiritline. It's www.facebook.com/groups/2 Revs. And it's called Spiritline Continue the Debate, where
Mm-hmm.
we can continue the conversation, and everyone can come together. And so we do post the timeline in it. We are here, I think 99% of the time we're actually on a Friday at 4. We've had to tweak it a little bit once or twice,
Yeah.
but not very.
When there's been a hiccup. But,
Yeah, and yes, absolutely right. One big happy family.
and Chrissy.
Um, we love our 2 Revs and always. Oh, how sweet! Oh, Chrissy, I love spending my Fridays with Tony, Nick, and everyone. It gives us something to look forward to. Oh, you know, I'm feeling the love today. I really, really am. You're all wonderful people. Thanks. Have a lovely weekend. Whatever you may be doing, take care. God bless you. Oh, um, yeah, there is probably that too. To be fair, but no,
Yeah.
if he didn't want to, he wouldn't. We all know the strength of such a wonderful, formidable character that is Richard. Um,
Absolutely.
but you know, and you know what? He does it all for nothing.
It does.
He does it all for nothing. And you know, interestingly enough, there's not very long left to nominate your churches, your local mediums, your local healers. I know there's been a few glitches and people have been struggling a little bit to nominate, but if you know someone in your area or your personal church, your favorite church, get them nominated on the awards, because it is for everyone, not just SPTV. You know, I think it's really,
Mm.
really important to just make good use of that. Um, Mum's getting very poetic today. More
Yeah.
love, less hate. Um, James, you are most welcome. I love spending my time comments on here. It just might make my mum worry about what I might say. I think your mum's realised by now that there isn't much that you could say that would surprise me. It'd probably be more for her concern than mine. And I
Mm.
know I know because Tony's had to put up with me now for about 4 or 5 years that he can
Yeah.
tolerate it as well. But there we
Yeah.
go. So should nominate the Rainbow Project. I don't think there's a category for non-spiritual organisations, though. Um,
No.
maybe
No, I
next
didn't
year.
say.
You know, in that particular community, I've mentioned it a couple of times. I will get him there, Chrissy. You know, but you know, the Rainbow Project in that particular side of our lives, we do have allies. So
Mm.
maybe we should, as spiritualists, have ally groups. I
Yeah,
think the Rainbow Project certainly would fall under that category for sure, because they've always been
absolutely.
very, very kind and welcoming to me. Um,
James doesn't
it's
shock me anymore.
oh, bless you. Oh, it is primarily focused on LGBT.
I
I don't
think
think they
James,
have.
The Rainbow Project's not spiritual in that sense. It's we grow people and develop people like we do here, but yeah,
Yeah.
is it possible?
The links? Do you mean Daryl? Do you mean for the nominations? Because if it is, absolutely. And Tony, would you share a link to what you were on last night? Because I want it to.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll find it out and I'll pop it into the page.
Yeah, I wasn't. I wasn't challenging you, James, and I certainly wasn't throwing down the gauntlet. But you are more than welcome to try. Good luck.
Oh,
I think I could. I think I could probably.
yeah,
Even my Kafunga boo boos are probably beyond the pale. When I'm really, really trying, you're in trouble.
yeah.
As Tony can confirm. As Tony can
Yes,
confirm.
yes, I can indeed. Um, well, I'm going to have to shoot because I'm on
Yes.
again at 7
Well,
on my
you need to get some
page.
rest first, and I need to go and do some cooking because I haven't stopped all day. Thank you for taking this time out of your day, Tony, to
Absolutely, absolutely. And everybody who's watching as well, and yourself, Nick. I know you had a hectic afternoon and then you've rushed off to do this as well. But no, everybody, it's a privilege that you keep coming back week after week. You suckers for punishment.
I know, I know. And we will have to talk about a Monday slot when you're available so you can come and see me and Dawn and
Absolutely,
everyone at SPTV.
absolutely. I would love to. I'll post to Lorraine's group. It is a private group, so you'll have to apply to be a member and da 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 da. But we'll be there.
Oh,
Oh, thank you.
well done, Veronica. If anyone was going to be able to find it, it was going to be Veronica. Thank you, darling. And so the only thing I've got to is, the awards link. I will post that as well.
Yes.
I've got that. Sherry Ann, you're welcome. Nice to see you, Mum. I'll speak to you in a couple of minutes. Trace, love you. It was on. I thought it might be Veronica. It was on my list. I missed something. Oh yeah.
Lively afternoon. She said
Lively
lively afternoon.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's been both, to be fair, darling. I think it's been. You must be psychic, love.
Veronica, it's
Oh,
I'm starting up my live feeds again after having a bit of time out to as we say recharge. So it's my live feeds. We'll be trying and get them back on a regular footing again.
yeah, absolutely.
You can't find signs of the afterlife anymore.
I used to love
It's
it.
definitely there. 7 p.m.
There we go. There's the code for it. I'll leave it up there, and thank you, Veronica, for bringing that up.
Love
And
Veronica.
there we are. So, thank you all so very, very much. I'm going to let this young man go and have his rest and say hello to the wonderful Michael who's just arrived. Our
Yes.
parent. But thank you all so, so very much again for being part of this adventure. From
Yeah.
me, it is good night and God bless.
See you
And
soon from me.
we've got to try and get that one worked out of it. We need a
Yeah.
catchphrase like the
You
two
do.
Ronnies.
Yeah.
I tried. The two Revs. We could actually just copy them.
You could,
So it's good night from him.
and it's good night from me.
God bless all. Love you. Speak to
Bye.
you soon. God bless.